Good evening, Dan. Good evening, everybody. Look, there are more important things going on in the world right now, and we aren't blind to the conflict that is blighting the European landscape. And if you do want further information, our sister radio stations, Times Radio and Talk Radio, are available via their respective apps or on DAB digital radio. But our job here on Talk Sport is to bring a little bit of light, and football certainly does that. The most attractive thing about football is that it gives you hope. Any team can win a football match, every fan can believe. Arsenal were bottom midway through September, and now they look favourites to earn that coveted top four place. Wolves sacked their long-standing gaffer in the summer and replaced him with the former Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea assistant manager, and now they are eyeing up the Champions League too. Arsenal have dismantled their squad and are reconstructing it for the long term. Wolves are building on the platform they already had. Whoever wins tonight will sneak up to just 1 point behind Manchester United and breathe heavily down their necks. It's crucial, Dean Ashton.
It is, and like I said earlier, we're getting towards the business end of the season. These results can be huge in just putting that little bit of daylight between yourselves and the other contenders. And Arsenal, with them games in hand, will feel that this is just a huge game to push and put that pressure onto Manchester United. And Wolves will be confident. They'll feel like they've got a real sneaky chance of upsetting absolutely everyone.
Let me run through the two teams for you, starting with the home team, Arsenal, who will wear red shirts with white sleeves and sides and white shorts in this first half. They've got Aaron Ramsey in goal, Cedric Suarez, Ben White, Gabriel and Kieran Tierney as the back four, Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey holding in midfield, with Bukayo Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli behind Lacazette in attack. As far as Wolves are concerned, Jose Sarr is their goalkeeper. It's Maximilian Kilman. He's asked us to call him that. He is very much associated with the Ukrainian community. His parents both hail from that area of Europe, and he has asked us to show respect for that tonight by calling him by his full name. Conor Cody, Roman Saiz, the back three. Then in midfield, it is Moutinho and Neves, with Semedo and Aït-Nouri as the wing-backs. He, Chan Huang and Jimenez up top. Of course, the other thing about Maximilian Kilman is that he's also on the England radar, and it'll be interesting to see which representative from the FA is here tonight to keep an eye on him. Martin Atkinson is our referee. We do have VAR in place as well, looking at all the major incidents from Stockley Park. And remember, over on TalkSport 2 right now, the Europa League is taking centre stage with Rangers action from 8 o'clock tonight. Before we start here, most of the players and the officials take the knee, joining with those asking for racial equality and social justice. Wolves in old gold and black, Arsenal in the red and white, as I've already mentioned, and Wolverhampton Wanderers shooting from right to left in this first half. And Dean Ashton is alongside me. Conventional wisdom is for a low-scoring game. Is that how you see it? Here is Saka into the penalty area, trying to start early. Martinelli gets felled, goes down under pressure, and there was a challenge from the side by Semedo, which has led to quite a few appeals. Martin Atkinson waves away the process, and the ball goes back to the halfway line. Maybe not.
Well, I thought he should have been stronger. Much stronger there, Martinelli, because he was in a great position. If it had just stood firm and made sure all he did was concentrate on taking the strike rather than worrying about, can I get a penalty, I think he scores here. Marcel comes across, there's not a lot in it. He's got to know he's there. He's got to know that Marcel's just coming in behind him, and he doesn't, and he was out-muscled.
Nelson Semedo it was, coming from the other side, and put him under a little bit of pressure. And there is no penalty, by the way. There was a brief VAR delay, but very quickly Martin Atkinson waved play on. Mikel Arteta is often demonstrative on the touchline, and he's come bounding down the touchline to retrieve a loose ball which ran out on this near side. Arsenal have an early throw down the right side. We played just over a minute and a half. You're listening to TalkSport. The ball is thrown down the line by went to throw it down the line. Cedric Suarez then stopped himself because he thought he might be encroaching over the pitch. Came back again, threw it to Odegaard, and now Kieran Tierney has it just left of the centre circle. He plays it out towards the left, and here is Martinelli, who is returning for the first time since being sent off in the game between the two in a remarkable incident earlier this month. Gabriel then gets dispossessed on the halfway line by Jimenez after dawdling, and a free kick eventually is given against the Mexican on the Brazilian. And it might be a bit spicy, this. I know that after they result at Wolverhampton Wanderers Molineux ground, Arsenal celebrated with gusto. They really revelled in the fact that they'd beaten Wolves with 10 men, and Wolves didn't like that.
No, especially Ruben Neves. He was quite vocal, wasn't he, about the way that Arsenal celebrated, but it was a crucial game against a team that were going for top four also. I think it'll be the same this evening. Whichever team is, if they are able to take the victory, it's big, and that's about camaraderie between the team as well, sometimes celebrating the fact you've worked hard and got a good result.
Well, there's not enough joy in the world to enforce the celebration police, is there? I mean, there was people that at the weekend who were getting very, very upset about the fact that Tottenham fans were getting excited about Manchester City. You've got to take it when it comes, because as Tottenham found out last night, you can quite quickly come back down to earth with a bump, as Partey has, under pressure from Hwang just inside his own half, and it's a free kick to Arsenal on the halfway line. Ødegaard takes it, and Arsenal got possession again. 3 minutes gone, you're listening to TalkSport, and Ben White has it for Arsenal, just right of the centre circle. He clips it down the right channel, looking for the run of Lacazette. The Frenchman has gone beyond the last Wolves defender and got to the byline. Can he produce a cross? It takes a deflection on the way through into the box. Cody manages to shepherd it clear, and it comes out to Hwang on this near side. Now Neves, with his hair pinned back by an Alice band and a tight short sleeve t-shirt, plays it wide to the left. Nouri gives it back to Roman Saiz, and Wolves look to play out from the back. What a healthy Wolves contingent here, and a good atmosphere, Dean.
Yeah, they always have good travelling support to Wolves, and they know how big this game is and how important it could be for them. Great ball from Podence,
finding Semedo down the right side, gets to the byline, tries to twist his way past Tierney, plays it against Tierney, or straight into his crown jewels, and Kieran Tierney crumples to the floor, and he felt the full force of that, and that'll make the eyes water as it goes out for a corner.
Yeah, the old ice sponge, can't help that. But it was a great move, actually. Podence, lovely little turn, and then a clever pass down the side of Tierney for Semedo. It was actually good defending from Tierney in the end, just to block that cross, but obviously took a whack for his troubles.
And not just a whack with the ball, a whack with the studs of Semedo.
Just in unison, our legs crossed at the same time.
Yeah, they did,
we saw that replay on the monitor in front of us.
Yeah, that was quite excruciating. Corner kick to be taken over on the far side. Tierney is just about back to his feet. The corner goes in from João Moutinho. It's headed away, comes back to Neves, edge of the area, right-footed ball in towards the near post. Oh, it's missed by Ramsdale and clipped in over on the far side. And Roman Saiz has his celebrations curtailed because the offside flag went up very quickly.
Well, Saiz, he's acting as if he knows he's offside. It's a really clever ball from Neves, and it's very, very, very tight. They're still having a look at it. So a great ball from Neves.
I think it is offside, but I think they're going to have to put the lines down because it's that tight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think from the replay we had from the monitor in front of us, it looked very close, but it just looked as if there was one or two gold shirts.
Well, Thomas Partey looks the closest to the line of the furthest back Arsenal player, and as a result of that, they have to make sure that they measure it to the millimetre. Initially, it's going to a proper check. VAR checking disallowed goal for offside. That's what it was ruled out for initially. Wolves hoping very much that the check goes in their favour. Still looks to me as if Thomas Partey is...
Well, you've always got to look at the player's feet, haven't you?
Yeah.
Their body might look like they're playing them offside, but their feet might be just hanging
clear,
back.
Though, doesn't it? Because he's the way that the pitch is mowed is sort of giving it away. Yeah. And now it's been confirmed that it is in fact offside. No goal is the decision. Don't necessarily think you need the lines for that. The lines are already on the pitch because of the way that the grass is mowed.
What, so you're saying you can trust the groundsman?
You can always trust the groundsman team. They use very specific measurements. Arsenal playing out from the back.
I'll wait for the abuse from all the groundsmen now coming at me.
There's a groundsman's association, you know. 6th versus 7th in the Premier League. Arsenal against Wolves. Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton at the Emirates Stadium in North London tonight. Clear night in North London. It was a beautiful evening as we came up to the stadium here. Bright blue sky overhead. The sun was beaming down. Winter sunshine. There's a bit of a chill in the air. Everyone's huddled together and getting ready for some rich entertainment. A Thursday night helping of Premier League football. The ball picked up left side with Cedric trying to poke it through to Xhaka, who's dispossessed, and it runs towards the right. Podence, who's small and squat, runs up to the halfway line and then beyond it, plays it to the left, and now Aït-Nouri just a bit behind him, and Saka on the cover will come across and put him under pressure as he returns the ball back towards the halfway line. Wolves still in possession. 0-0 the score. 7 minutes 40 seconds played. You're listening to TalkSport live at the Emirates.
Well, it was a great run from Podence. He just needed to get his head up earlier because Aït-Nouri had made a fantastic run, and Saka, I thought, was a little bit slow in getting back, and the ball was just behind Aït-Nouri, otherwise he would have just been through 1v1 against Ramsdale, but the ball was just a little bit behind him and Saka was able to recover.
0-0. And this is TalkSport. Sam Matterface, Dean Ashton here. Remember, we've got the breakfast show coming tomorrow morning, looking ahead to all the weekend action. Ali McCoist is joined by Trevor Sinclair and Ray Parlour tomorrow morning, and they'll look ahead to all of the weekend's action in the Premier League, the EFL and beyond. Saka ran away with the ball as it ran loose inside the Wolves half, but Moutinho was fouled by Ødegaard in the build-up to that, and the linesman on the near touchlines flagging furiously. As a result of that, we will have a free kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers. I don't think that Arsenal supporters were expecting this to be an easy game. Any quick cursory glance down at the Wolves list of results and scores over the course of the season will tell you that it's usually pretty binary. 1-0, 0-0, 1-1, 0-1, stuff like that. Or they've given the ball away cheaply with a back pass. It's slid in towards Hwang, and he's taken advantage of Ramsdale not getting there and slipped it into the corner. And Wolverhampton Wanderers have now taken the lead. 9 minutes on the clock, and Hwang has taken advantage of a poor back pass by Gabriel. He's rounded Ramsdale, slipped it in from a tight angle, and it's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Well, it's just fantastic anticipation from Hwang. Honestly, yes, it was a slightly slow ball back towards Ramsdale, but I tell you what, the anticipation from Hwang, that's what you do as a striker. You gamble, you anticipate, you hope that things happen that maybe most of the time don't. And he just snuck around White, who wasn't anticipating that ball back to Ramsdale, but Hwang was alive to it. Once he took it around Ramsdale, easy side foot into the back of the net.
What a finish that is, by the way, because that is a tight angle at speed. He has to readjust his body, get his body square on to hook the ball round with his right foot and send it into the far corner. The look on Gabriel's face tells everything you need to know about how he feels about it. Ramsdale beaten, Arsenal 1 down, and Wolves are pretty good when they take the lead. They are unbeaten, Dean, in 45 Premier League games when scoring first, dating back to a 2-1 defeat away at Cardiff in November 2018, which was under a very different regime.
That's an incredible stat, really is. You wouldn't want to tell these supporters that, would you? Arsenal have got to get back into this game, obviously, but it was just clever. It was a lovely trap that they set. Jimenez obviously went and put huge amounts of pressure on Gabriel, and instinctively he just felt as if he could just play it back to Ramsdale. Hwang was alive to it. Just anticipation was excellent.
Well, Arsenal supporters have not been able to dream of trips to Madrid, Bayern or PSG for 5 years, but they knew a win tonight puts them in a terrific position to get back into the Champions League. 2 games in hand after tonight on Manchester United, but they've had the worst possible start, and that worst possible start has seen them trail to a Hee-Chan Hwang goal after just 10 minutes. And it's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And Hwang, who hasn't actually scored for a while, 4 goals in his first 6 Premier League appearances for Wolves. He's not scored in his last 10 before tonight. He's on the score sheet once again. 12 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Here's Neves deep inside his own half, flicking it out towards the left. It's collected by Aït-Nouri. It's a good start by Wolverhampton Wanderers, who've actually had the ball in the net twice. The first was disallowed for a narrow offside. Back to halfway it goes, and Romain Saïss, the Moroccan, plays it square to Conor Coady, the best communicating centre-half in the Premier League. Yeah, that means he's gobby. Here's Podence into Jimenez on the turn, tries to sweep it into the far corner and misses the target. Oh, what a move. Podence's ball into Jimenez, who turned and twisted. The Arsenal defence went missing, and luckily for them he missed the target, Jimenez, because that would have been a certain second goal.
No, it's a big chance for Jimenez. It's a brilliant ball in from Podence. He really fires it in just between the two centre-backs for Jimenez, just to take a touch. Brilliant first touch from Jimenez, and then just as he's about to strike, he really snatches at it. There's no composure to it. He could have side-footed it past Ramsdale. Instead he's tried to lash at it, and he's bobbled it wide.
What was Gabriel doing?
Well, Gabriel actually had a right go at Granit Xhaka, and rightly so, because Podence just drifted into that massive space that Granit Xhaka had left, and was just able just to turn and then get his head up and then pick that pass. That's what he was annoyed at.
Well, he certainly wasn't too happy about it, and he's just headed the ball out towards the far side, and here come Wolverhampton Wanderers again. Jimenez building on the right as they look at it now, plays it against a Swiss Xhaka, and it goes out of play and away for a throw-in over on the far side. Jimenez, who is still Wolves' top Premier League goal scorer, has created the most chances for Wolves this season. 74% of his goals, though, have come in the second half, so he still might have a sting in his tail. Wolves have already bitten once. They lead by 1-0. Here on the right side, it's Maximilian Kilman, who travels up towards the halfway line and pokes it down the right, looking for Podence. He can't reach it because he was in offside position. Ramsdale comes out and receives it on the edge of the 18-yard box, beats Hwang to it this time, and then it's cleared away. Up through the middle of the pitch, out towards the Wolves right. Again, Arsenal have had absolutely nothing in terms of progressive play inside opposition territory since the early stages of the game. It's all been Wolves.
No, they've been really sloppy, Arsenal, in possession, which is where the goal came from as well. And Wolves, on the other hand, with the likes of Neves and Moutinho, once they get hold of the ball, they're technically so gifted that they can then build through midfield. But both Moutinho and Neves, they're not going to run past Partey or Xhaka. They don't have to worry about that. What you do have to worry about is Podence picking up that clever little position either side of you as a midfield player. You've got to make sure you've got a good body position and you're checking your shoulder.
Arsenal won the game between the two up at Molineux, despite Gabriel Martinelli being sent off in that match for 2 very quick yellow cards. Here is Saka poking it through to Lacazette into the area, gets past Coady. Oh, great recovery tackle from Coady. Lacazette ended up with it, but in a wide position, and tried to poke it back towards goal. It goes behind the way for a goal kick. Lacazette is absolutely convinced that it should be a corner kick. I'm not entirely sure that it should.
No, it should. We've got a great angle here where we're just left of the penalty area on the right hand side of the pitch, and you can just see the attempt from Lacazette takes a little deflection, but what a challenge from Conor Coady. Without that challenge, Lacazette has then got a clean strike on goal against Sarr. Coady took that chance in the box, slid in, perfectly timed.
I think it came off the goalkeeper in the end, didn't it?
It definitely took a deflection because we've got just the best angle,
and it goes probably the wrong way for the official Martin Atkinson. He gives a goal kick instead, and it's cleared away by Jose Sarr. Up over the halfway line it goes, but it's an Arsenal jersey that gets on it, and that hasn't happened enough in the opening 16 minutes of the game. Partey forward, collected by Saïss. Xhaka comes out to meet him, and Saïss just swivels away from him and then hurt his knee in the process. A clash of knees, I think, as Aït-Nouri takes it on and runs into the Arsenal half. He's tackled from behind by Cedric. Referee says play on. And now the ball goes centrally, where it's collected by Partey. Partey weaves away from Neves, and they move up to the halfway line. Ødegaard at pace now, moves the ball down the right for Arsenal. Saka sells a dummy past Hwang and then moves into the right wing position, dances into the box, travels a long way with it, feeds Ødegaard inside the area, good feet, shoots, stopped by Saiss, who gets in the way of the shot. It's cleared away and out to the halfway line. That's better from Arsenal.
But that's why they don't concede many goals, Wolves. The urgency of every single player there to narrow the angles for the shot.
Tierney on the left, produces a cross into the box. Ødegaard is the target. It's away by Saiss, who extends his neck and propels the ball out of the 18-yard box. It's worked to the left-hand side once again, and it's back with Tierney, who looks still that he hasn't really graduated into sort of a first-team body. He's wearing the sort of Nigel Winterburn uniform, the only player in the outfield who has his shirt tucked into his shorts, Kieran Tierney. He's made of stern stuff, but he still looks like a young whippersnapper. His cross just overhit before reaching Ødegaard, and Wolves able to clear once again. It's a throw-in on this near side. 17 and a half minutes gone. It's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Live on TalkSport tonight. Over on TalkSport 2, Borussia Dortmund are at Ibrox, and Andy Barge is leading the commentary team tonight with Charlie Adam alongside him. That's over on TalkSport 2. If you want to listen to it, it's just starting right now. You can download our app, flick between the two stations, and you might need that for Saturday because we've got one hell of a game day. Reshvin Chowdhury is back in the chair. We've got Leeds against Tottenham at 12:30. I think Antonio Conte is going to be there. What do you think, Antonio?
Well, it depends if you're there. He might not be if you're there.
Yeah, probably. There's a few people that feel like that, I think. At the same time, Blackburn Queen's Park Rangers on TalkSport 2. Game Day Live is back at 2:30 with Brentford against Newcastle on TalkSport 2 at the same time, 2:30 that is. Ian Danter and Perry Groves, the commentary team. At 5:30, Everton against Manchester City. And on Sunday, live commentary of the League Cup final. Kicks off at 4:30. Ali McCoist, part of our commentary team on Sunday at Wembley. 19 minutes gone. Arsenal are behind, and you're listening to Talk Sport.
Well, Saka's the one, isn't he? He's the one that's caused a few issues down this right-hand side. It's great, Sam. I never had this when I was young because I didn't go to games, but that feeling of when the ball goes to Saka, just everybody in front of us just lifts up that excitement when a certain player gets the ball, and he's got that about him. Just drifted inside for that chance for Ødegaard.
Yeah, it's one of those moments of wonder when you're a kid, isn't it? When you first walk into a stadium and you see all that and you smell all of the wonderful smells that only football brings together. I don't know why. It's not the same when you go to cricket or when you go to rugby. It's a slightly different whiff that you get from those sports. But at football, there is a specific smell of, only just about cooked hot dogs and over-fried onions and rubbery burgers that we all love. 20 minutes gone. The ball's on the halfway line. It's with Kieran Tierney. He's clipping the ball down the left, looking for the run of Martinelli. Martinelli allows it to bounce, can't get it under control first time. Kilman goes across to try and rob him of it. Still, Martinelli has possession. He gives it back to Xhaka and they lose it very quickly. It bounces to the halfway line before Gabriel mops it up. Plays it square. Ben White travels with the ball through the centre circle, plays it forward to Ødegaard. Neves comes across and then it goes back to Partey. Wide again to White. White looks up, trying to get involved in the attack, but there is such a rigid old gold line on the edge of the area. Ødegaard trying to pierce that, feeds Lacazette. He looks to swivel inside the area, but there are 5 old gold shirts around him when he tried to do that, and he had absolutely no chance of getting round them and getting a shot away. He had to hit it a lot earlier.
Well, and he just got in behind Cody, and there was his mate Maximilian Kilman.
Here is Martinelli down the left, an overhit ball by Xhaka, doesn't find him. His range was off, and it goes all the way through to Jose Sarr away to our right-hand side.
And if you watch Wolves regularly, you'll notice how often that happens. How often when maybe someone's got in behind a player, all of a sudden that other player has read it, has come across to help. It's very, very rare that you will find a Wolves defender totally isolated And that takes organisation, it takes willingness to read the game and to run across.
Yeah, and they don't create hundreds of chances. They don't need to, because they are so well organised and so functional. And that's why there's a lot of ones and zeros littered across the season when it comes to Wolverhampton Wanderers. But here's Bukayo Saka in behind the Wolves defence, gets into the area, right footed shot blocked by Cody, who got back brilliantly, covered the ground and managed to deflect the ball behind and away for a corner. Now Saka, when he hit that, seems to have connected with Cody, and as a result seems to have hurt himself in the process. But what a brilliant bit of recovery work by the defender Connor Cody.
Well, they just made a slight mistake there, Wolves. It was Kilman who was just a little bit deeper. Cody and Saiz stepped up a fraction. Saka was able to get in behind. He just doesn't look comfortable on that right foot, does he? Not the same. He's on his stronger left.
Here is Ødegaard into the area. Goalkeeper didn't know whether to come or not. Neves heads it away. Took back in by Martinelli. Not into a great area. Goalkeeper's come a very long distance to make sure that Ødegaard can't get there, and he sees it behind, all clad in blue, and it's away for a goal kick. And one of the other things we should mention is that once that defence is pierced, and it does get pierced every now and again, that Wolverhampton Wanderers defence, Jose Sarr has probably been one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League this season. He does have the Premier League's best save percentage so far this campaign. And when you think they brought him in for half the transfer fee and half the wages of Rui Patricio, that's some recruitment.
It is. I think the recruitment of Wolves, we all know the change that was made and the powers that be behind the scenes that are facilitating that, but there's not been many that haven't worked.
Decent ball in again from the left-hand side, this time maybe a little bit overcooked for Saka, but Cedric Suarez backing him up, gets Arsenal on the front foot once more before Aït-Nouri manages to get it clear. Moutinho had to scramble across under difficult circumstances. Then Jimenez kicks Gabriel with a high foot, and that's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. 5 yards in from the right touchline and a good 15 yards in from the halfway line. So an opportunity for Arsenal to maybe cultivate something. You're listening to Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 on TalkSport with Now. And don't forget, with a Now Sports Day membership, you can stream all the Sky Sports action live for just $11.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. Here's Dean Ashton.
He's fired up, isn't he, Jimenez? I mean, he always works hard anyway, but he looks extremely fired up. You can imagine why, because of what happened the last time he was here. He was just given about 1,500 yellow cards in front of us from the Arsenal supporters that felt that it was a high foot against Gabriel. I didn't feel it was particularly bad. He's just one of those players that will not leave you alone if you're a centre-back.
Here is Moutinho. The last time that Raul Jimenez played in this stadium, he fractured his skull and had a very long time out of the game, and it was great to see him back once again. He's leading the line for Wolverhampton Wanderers tonight, who lead by a goal to nil after 24.5 minutes. You're listening to TalkSport. Here is Maximilian Kilman over on the far side, out towards the right, looking for the run of Semedo. His ball was poor, and Arsenal come forward with Lacazette, looking for Saka. Saka trying to hold it up, flicks it against Ruben Neves. Claims of handball nowhere near given, and I wouldn't have thought that was possible from that sort of range, but anyway, it's cleared forward by Romain Saiz up towards the halfway line. It was way too close for an appeal for handball on Neves. It breaks back to Saiz again after he failed to clear the first time, and Ryan Aït-Nouri has it on the left touchline. They give it away poorly through Saiz once more, and then Aït-Nouri has to challenge Ben White for the ball on the near touchline in front of Bruno Lage's technical area, where there is now a throw into Arsenal.
Well, they've woken up, haven't they, Arsenal? It's a sloppy start from them, and they conceded the sloppy goal as well. Since then, a lot better tempo. They've been snapping at Wolves' midfield, because if you give Moutinho and Neves time, they'll play out easily, and it's meant they've got the rewards and they're pinning Wolves back.
Lacazette is getting more and more furious as the evening goes on. The decisions aren't going his way. Wearing the captain's armband again tonight in the I suppose he is the club captain. Is there a club captain now? I don't know at Arsenal. I think he's going to be the captain till the end of the season. And Aubameyang having moved on to pastures new, and Xhaka having had it taken off and given back and taken off him again. They've stolen about 15 yards here, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and about 30 seconds. And Martin Atkinson has been alerted to that now by Lacazette, who is getting ever gobbier. And now there is a row going on between Cody and Lacazette about where the free kick should be taken from. Martin Atkinson wants them to get on with it. Lacazette's still moaning about the geography of the decision, and eventually Jose Sarr clears. It goes all the way through to Ramsdale, and it was a bit of an unnecessary debate.
Core players are pathetic, aren't they? I mean, it's 4 yards, 6 yards, who cares? It's really not going to make a difference. Jose Sarr is not going to arrow a pass onto Jimenez's foot fully 80, 90 yards. It just shows maybe the frustration that Arsenal are feeling so far.
Yep. And they trail by 1-0. And if you want to check out the latest odds, you can do by going to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Arsenal to win the game at 2-1, the draw is 12-5, and Wolves 13-8. That's all thanks to Betfair, where you'll get no cash-out suspensions on match odds and over-under goal markets on football. 18+ BigGambleAware.org. Arsenal looking to get the ball forward. They get it long up to Saka. Ødegaard back to Saka, and then on to Lacazette, who's right at the D. He's rushed to the floor by João Moutinho, but here's Thomas Partey charging through a congested midfield, trying to feed Saka. Overhits his pass, was imprecise with his action, and it goes all the way through to Jose Sarr in the Wolverhampton Wanderers goal.
Well, João Moutinho, he's one of the best, one of the craftiest players in the Premier League. All of his experience, the amount of free kicks I see him get, or fouls that he is committing but don't get blown up.
35 years of age.
It must be so annoying.
Saka trying to run in behind the Wolves defence, and again it's too long from the Arsenal midfield, and Jose Sarr has got his starting position correct. He's come out and collected that and cleared it away. 35 years of age now, João Moutinho. Actually only came back in the game against Leicester after 2 games missing with a calf injury, but he's integral to their midfield. He just adds a little bit of nous, doesn't he, in there. Dendoncker taken out tonight, and Hwang put further up alongside Podence behind Jimenez. That's the formation they've gone with tonight. Here's Cedric Suarez delivering a cross into the ball. Oh, misread the flight of the ball there. The goalkeeper has come through to Tierney, back into Lacazette, tries a shot, blocked by the defender. Shouts of handball, and then João Moutinho will hook it away towards the halfway line. Well, Jose Sarr, for all the praise we've given him, came out there, and as the cross came into the box on the right side from Cedric Suarez, he completely missed it.
It was a brilliant ball from Cedric Suarez. Honestly, the pace on the cross is what did for Sarr. The flight, he didn't catch it because it was whipped in with such pace. And then Lacazette, I just looked at his face when that ball got flashed across and he took the volley first time and it hit a Wolves defender. He just had that look on his face as if to say, that is just typical at the moment for me. Not in great goal scoring form. And when you take that good volley on and it hits a defender, it just feels like the world's against you as a striker.
2 goals and 5 assists in his last 8 Premier League appearances. He's certainly been playing a different role for the team, hasn't he? He's almost like the sort of glue that tries to hold that front line together now.
Yeah, it's horrible. Lone striker role, doing all the hard work for others. Don't get me started.
You just want the glory, don't you, really?
That's why I played the game, not to pass it to someone else.
Saka down the right, dispossessed by a combination of Aït-Nouri and Hwang, who then runs up towards the halfway line, then feeds Aït-Nouri, who continues to run down the left touchline. Ball taken out of play after a good bit of dogged, determined defending by Bukayo Saka, and Arsenal have the ball. Mikel Arteta trying to rev his troops up again, pushes Bukayo Saka down the touchline, as if to say, keep going, fella. Well, to be honest with you, he's just ran about 50 yards to stop that ball from progressing further down the left touchline, so he probably needs a little bit of a breather, Mikel.
But he's the threat, and Wolves are playing a reasonably high line. They're giving Arsenal that space in behind, so when Lacazette does go short, Saka's making that great run either in between Aït-Nouri and Saiss or in behind Saiss, and that ball is on. If they get it right and they time it right, they'll be in.
Arsenal win it back on the left, and it's Xhaka snapping into a tackle, and then a foul by Martinelli, and a free kick given over on the far side. Martinelli got to be a little bit careful after what happened last time. Him and Daniel Podence renewing hostilities over on that far touchline, and that's a big chance for Lacazette, where he could have capitalised on that error from Jose Sarr. as it came back in from Tierney. He just sort of touched it first up. Was it definitely going on target? Just have a look at the replay. Not entirely sure that it was. It was a bit of a funny angle, really.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Hwang chasing a loose ball up towards the edge of the 18-yard box in violet boots and a green goalkeeping jersey. Ramsdale comes out, collects and bowls it out into the left fullback position. Tierney is encouraged to go forward. Doesn't move the ball very quickly at all, and we've played over half an hour now, and Wolves still lead by a goal to nil. And they're pretty stout defensively. They haven't conceded more than one goal in the last 13 Premier League games, and no one has conceded fewer from open play this season than Wolverhampton Wanderers. White into Ødegaard, then good feet from Partey, centre circle, a little swivel and turn by Lacazette, back to Partey. Now Lacazette again trying to get the better of Neves and succeeding, moves towards the edge of the area, left-footed drive towards the far corner and going down to his left to stop it rather routinely was Jose Sarr, and it remains 1-0 to Wolves.
Yeah, good play from Lacazette, lovely turn away from Neves, and it opened up for the strike. Cody just took 2 steps back. Lacazette took that strike on with the left foot, down low. Sarr bounced in front of him as well. I watched him in the warm-up and he did quite a few of those that bounced.
Given away, and here's Saka inside the area looking for Lacazette, who chests it and tries an overhead kick which he was never going to perfect from that sort of distance and at that sort of range, and it goes out and away for a goal kick. Bruno Lage, he's having it large on this near side. He's gone halfway down to almost towards level with the edge of the penalty area, and he is bellowing at his team to just wake up slightly after giving the ball away again in midfield.
And again though, it was Saka that was alive then to the space that opened up once they'd won the ball back, chested it down. I actually thought he could have perhaps gone himself, struck it with his left foot. Instead he was unselfish, laid it to Lacazette, and there was still a little bit of desperation about the attempt to chest an overhead kick rather than maybe taking it down and waiting for support to lay it off to. I can see that desperation that he's got to score.
They've turned up the heaters under the hot dogs in the concession stands behind us. The smell has started to just waft in from the emergency exit away to our left-hand side. We're at the back of the bottom tier of the main stand at the Emirates, this huge 60,000-seater bowl of a stadium on the north-west of London, or north of London, really. And fascinating, really, isn't it? You know, this is perceived to be one of the newest stadiums, and yet, would you believe it, it's going to be refurbished in the summer. They're going to put quite a few quid behind just giving it a bit of a tarting up here and there.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Interior design has been in, I guess, to jazz things up.
It's got to be comfortable, isn't it? It's 15 years old now, apparently, 16 years old now. Ball given away by a slip on the far side by Cody, and Martinelli's trying to profit from that. Gets it back on the edge of the box, feeds Lacazette. Lacazette now driving it through towards Martinelli, pokes it goalwards over the bar, it goes. And he just got underneath that as he tried to stab it towards Jose Sarr's goal, and he went behind and away for a goal kick. Martinelli turns to the fans and tries to rev them up by throwing his arms into the air and asking them for more support, but he juggled with the ball to take it beyond Moutinho in the first place, and when he got the return from Lacazette, he couldn't keep it down.
Well, Lacazette's getting more and more involved in the game, considering he's playing against 3 centre-backs on his own at times. He's picking up some great positions, this time down the side of the Wolves defence. He fired it across, and it's very difficult when you take a large step towards the ball and try and hit it first time. Very difficult to control that. It'd be a lot easier if you had a short step in between and then opened your body out. Instead he took that long stride, which then got his foot under the ball and forced it over the bar.
10 minutes to go. Dean Ashton co-commentating tonight live here at the Emirates Stadium, former England striker, and watching Arsenal just toil a little bit. They've gone into the game the longer the first half has gone on, but they are behind here with a good 10 minutes to go before the break. Maximilian Kilman with a raking ball down towards the left, headed into the path of Hwang by Ryan Aït-Nouri. He turns and fires it back, Hwang to the halfway line, and Saiss is waiting for it. He plays it infield, and Wolves quite happy just to sit and build and try and go through the motions and try and hold on to possession. When it comes to Podence, he can't do that. It fizzes off the outside of his left boot and goes away for a throw-in over on the far side.
Well, they're just being quite clever, Wolves. Out of possession, mostly, Podence and Hwang split into almost like a front three and then drop into that position. So then it's very difficult for Arsenal to play through. Odegaard's barely seeing the ball, to be honest, in between midfield and defence because of that solid unit that Wolves had. And then when they do get the ball, Podence then drifts into a more of a 10 role, which is then causing Xhaka an issue.
Well, you're listening to Arsenal versus Wolves on TalkSport with We Buy Any Car. Hundreds of branches, usually only 13 minutes away. Find yours now. And Wolves are leading by a goal scored by Hwang inside the first 10 minutes. Here on the left-hand side is Lacazette for Arsenal, trying to get them back into the game. Sets up Partey, shoots from 25 yards out and over the bar by a good 15 yards. It was a really poorly executed shot from the Ghanaian international. 25 yards from goal. He got right underneath. He ballooned the ball, really. And actually, there was not too much in the way of traffic in front of him when he first received the ball, ran onto the ball. But he never looked set.
Well, normally I would say when the whole crowd shouts shoot, that always means don't shoot. But he obviously had plenty of room, like you said, to get it out of his feet, not much in front of him. Just a poor execution in terms of the strike, getting right underneath it. But I always think they're normally shouting shoot because you're not that good. and they would love to see you smash one in the top corner.
Here's Hwang picking the ball up in the centre field. He's whacked to the floor by Saka, and Saka hacked out at him from behind. He's going to get a yellow card. The crowd are moaning about it, but Dean, actually, I don't think there's anything wrong with Martin Atkinson's decision there. I think he's absolutely right to book him.
Well, I don't think he would have been booked either for the actual challenge itself, because it's not as if it was going to be a definite counter-attack. You're right, it's that silly little kick-out that Saka made just at the end of the challenge that I think's given him the yellow card.
Saka in the book, and guess what? Rangers are on the score sheet. James Tavernier, 22 minutes from the penalty spot, has scored another goal for Rangers against Borussia Dortmund. They lead 1-0 on the night, 5-2 on aggregate over on TalkSport 2. Are they going to knock out Borussia Dortmund? Dortmund had a really bad time in the league earlier in the season. They conceded far too many goals, and they've conceded again tonight. Here's João Moutinho inside the centre circle, giving it to Neves. Neves, I think, trying to float one out to the right-hand side. God, Semedo's actually reached it, and he's gone round the defender, and he's pulled it back. It's hit the defender and gone behind, and I think maybe, just maybe, it already strayed out of the perimeter of the playing surface before he got the cross in, because the goal kick has been given. But boy, oh boy, how on earth did he get on the end of that? I thought that was going certainly out of play. Semedo didn't give up the chase. He did brilliantly.
Rapido, that's why. Unbelievable pace from Semedo. I think Tierney felt it was going out as well, which is why he kind of left it for a split second, allowing Semedo to get to the ball first, and then he just tried to jink to the byline, and he did just overrun the touch.
Only just a little bit. 54% possession for Arsenal, 46 for Wolves. Wolves managed to win the game against Leicester City despite being under the cosh from the Foxes for much of the game, and had only 36% of the ball, so they've had even more than that tonight, and they lead here by a goal to nil with 5 minutes to go before the break. And I think they'll be pretty satisfied with their first half, even though there has been a late flourish by Arsenal and they've created one or two chances, but only one shot on target from both teams so far in the game. They have just smuggled the ball behind for a corner, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Arsenal pretty good from corners, 7 goals from them this season. Can they conjure something now? All the Arsenal fans stand to attention. They raise from their red plastic seats and stand and peer at the congested penalty area. There's a hue of old gold merged with red and white as the ball's touched short to Odegaard, who runs towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it to Saka, who may have been in an offside position there. He's dispossessed anyway. It's taken off his toes by Semedo, who sends it long for Daniel Podence, and Kieran Tierney comes across on the cover and shepherds it back to his goalkeeper.
Well, it's always a nice idea if you're going to play that short corner, but when it doesn't come off Man, it's frustrating if you've been in there and waiting for the ball.
Well, if you're a central defender that made the journey up. Here's Martinelli over on the far side, trying to trick his way past Semedo, gets into the area. It wasn't really a shot or a cross in the end. It went straight into the gloves of Jose Sá rather tamely. And once again, an Arsenal attack flounders. You're listening to Talk Sport, and we've got 4 minutes now before the end of the first half, and Arsenal actually have been pretty full of confidence in recent matches. 6 wins in their last 8 Premier League games, and they should have beaten Brentford by a few more on Saturday. I think Alex Cook was saying on the Game Day podcast, which you can listen to on the TalkSport app, that they got scant reward for all their territory that they had during that match. They weren't ruthless enough, and actually they haven't really created enough chances in this game either.
No, but they are up against a top quality defensive unit in Wolves, and Wolves won't mind being under a little bit of pressure and Arsenal having plenty of the ball. Conor Coady constantly shouting, barking orders. They're up, they're squeezing the play, then they suddenly drop again. It's hard to play against when you're a forward because you're constantly having to be on your toes, making sure you're not offside.
And that Rangers game continues on TalkSport 2, by the way, at the moment. And Rangers leading by 1-0. Podence here with Wolves in charge, leading by that goal scored by Hwang after 10 minutes. Have the ball on the right side of the halfway line. It's played back into the centre of the Wolves defence, and Arsenal not really able to engage properly upfield, allow them to play it forward. Then there's a bit of pressing from Cedric, which results in a mistake by Hwang, and Cedric progresses down the right touchline, produces a cross into the box. Maximilian Kilman with a header away, out towards the far side. Tierney's going to keep it in here and might have the chance to cross, but there's no one really to deliver the ball to in the centre, so he goes back towards Xhaka, then Ødegaard, flicked over the top, Martinelli trying to get there, Sá comes out, gets something on it, it bounces in front of Kilman and Sá gathers it. Good goalkeeping.
Yeah, what a delicious little dink over the top though that was for Martinelli from Ødegaard. Just scooped it up over the top of Maximilian Kilman. And brilliant again from Sá. He just comes out. I don't think Martinelli can do much more because the ball's actually bouncing. I think the only way to beat the goalkeeper is to try and lift it over the top. And Sá was excellent in his execution of the save.
How tall are you, by the way?
6'2".
So he's 2 inches bigger than you, the goalie. And he reached his arms right up in the air, and he has got really long limbs. He's got a massive wingspan, hasn't he, Jose Sá? And his hands were right up in the air. So actually, you know, he made himself about 7 foot tall. So it was impossible to dink the ball over him from there.
It was the only option though for Martinelli. So,
you know, Dan Windle doesn't believe you're 6'2", by the way.
That's because I'm bald, so it makes me look smaller.
But you've got a hat on. This is Talk Sport. We've got 90 seconds before the end of the first half. It's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. I regularly measure myself to make sure I'm not shrinking. 177 centimetres.
Well done.
Yeah, well done. Here is Coady. Kilman down the right side, looking for the run of Jimenez. It's out of play on the far side, and then Arsenal get it back again very quickly into Xhaka, and then it's across the back four to Gabriel.
By the way, this is what Wolves do. They're just so frustrating to play against Wolves.
Well, they're just so well organised, aren't they?
Exactly. They're not that great to watch. They're not, but so effective, so frustrating.
Here is Martinelli trying to take out some of his frustration on that Wolves back line, plays it into Xhaka, who's dispossessed by Neves, and Neves can bring it clear, and they can progress up towards the halfway line. It's 4-on-4, and Wolves are coming forward, leading by a goal to 0 in the final 10 seconds of the first half. Podence takes over, moves towards the edge of the box on the right side. It's Neves, a low cross into the box, takes a deflection, popped away by Gabriel. Neves still chasing it. Neves goes out towards the corner flag, and still they have the ball, Wolves. Podence crosses in towards Jimenez. It's glancing header, just hits the foot of the post and goes behind and away and out for a goal kick. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, and Arsenal have found themselves in a spot of bother again. What a delicious cross that was from Podence.
It was a difficult skill though for Jimenez, falling backwards with the pace dying on the ball. He's then having to generate that power to try and head it back towards the back post. It was a good effort.
Really good effort. Arsenal fans, I'm sure, will know all too well about the power of Wolverhampton Wanderers. They beat them last season, and they can't afford to really be beaten tonight. Listen, there's a long way to go in the race for the top four. It's wide open at the moment, but Arsenal know a victory here will certainly put them in pole position, but they're trailing, and Saka trying to do something about that, dances into the box. He goes down the right side, but by the time he gets the cross in, Dean, there is 7 old gold shirts inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers penalty area.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're just attracted like a beam of light to the 6-yard line. Just all of them just being sucked back in towards the penalty area to defend the cross that's about to come in, and wasn't really great movement. Lacazette, Martinelli stood on their heels.
Lovely turn by Podence out towards the right side, and Semedo joining the Wolves attack now as they come forward in the last few seconds of what has been, an interesting first 45 minutes in which Wolverhampton Wanderers have taken the lead. They have the ball in the centre circle now. They're just playing out time. 30 seconds of additional time still remaining here on TalkSport. That goal from Hwang separating the two sides at the break. Of course, Wolves very much in contention for a top 4 place themselves. They will go to within a point of Manchester United with the game in hand, should they become victorious in this game. Here's Saiss, and that's the last action of the first 45 minutes, and hope springs eternal for Wolverhampton Wanderers and their supporters. They lead at the break, and they don't let in too many goals. Arsenal's top 4 dreams certainly being tested thanks to a goal in the first 10 minutes from Hwang, converting after a poor back pass from Gabriel from a very tight angle after rounding Aaron Ramsdale. And Mikel Arteta has got some work to do at the break. It's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Well, despite a tumultuous start to the season, an unimpressive one really, Mikel Arteta has steered Arsenal into a situation where they are 11 points better off than at the same stage last season when they were 11th with 31 points after 23 games. They have scored 9 goals more and conceded 3 goals more, but they've certainly come to the party as far as the race for the top 4 is concerned later in the season. And they gave themselves a brilliant chance of getting right upside alongside Manchester United tonight, but they trail here by a goal to 0, and they need a little bit more punch in the second half. They've started quickly on the front foot with Tierney into the area, Martinelli trying to turn. He swivels away from 2 challenges and fires the ball well behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. A quick reminder that it's half-time over on TalkSport 2. Rangers 1, Borussia Dortmund 2. Aggregate score 5-4. No away goals in that competition. A nervy 45 minutes to come for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's team. No changes at half-time for either of the 2 teams. Ramsdale is the Arsenal goalkeeper. It's a back 4 of Cedric Suarez, Ben White, Gabriel and Kieran Tierney. Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey in midfield, with Saka, who's been booked, Ødegaard and Martinelli behind Lacazette. And that front 4 really have not created enough chances against this stubborn Wolves resistance, who are really dangerous on the break. And here's Podence feeding Hwang into the area, through the goalkeeper, and narrowly wide of the far post and out and away for a goal kick. What a brilliant chance. Actually, he's given a corner, Martin Atkinson, so Ramsdale must have got something on it. Brilliant ball by Podence on the attack, down the right channel, came in field, played a lovely delicate ball down the right channel into the 18-yard box, and from a wide angle, Hwang put it across the face of goal, and it goes out and behind and away for a corner.
Well, you would have to say that Ramsdale obviously got a touch to make sure it went the other side of the post.
Here is the corner, aiming towards the near post, and it's headed away by Gabriel, out only as far as Moutinho, whose effort goes well wide of the left hand upright as Ramsdale looks at it, and it's out for a goal kick away to our right. But what a fast start we've had to the second half. 2 minutes gone, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have had another really good chance. Sarr is their goalkeeper, Maximilian Kilman, Connor Cody, Roman Saiss the back 3. Then it's Semedo and Aït-Nouri the wing backs, Coutinho and Neves in the centre, Podence and Hwang either side of Jimenez. And Podence has been a real thorn in Arsenal's side, down this sort of right side, the right channel in the half space between the left full-back and the central defender Gabriel.
Yeah, he's been excellent, and that pass was just sublime, by the way. He just sort of Cruyff flick jinked inside, and then in one movement, outside of the foot, down the side, of Gabriel for Hwang, who'd made a great run from that left-hand side. He'd come all the way across to get him behind. And then what he did was he stepped over the ball, Hwang, to allow it to go through his legs to then take the shot. I think if he doesn't jump over the ball and he lets it run down the side of his right leg and then shoots, then he maybe takes Ramsdale a little bit by surprise and a little bit quicker, and that angle doesn't get as tight as it did in the end.
Well, his goal separates the two teams. That came after 10 minutes, but he's had the best chance of the second half, which is 3 minutes old now. It's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and Wolves taking their time over a throw-in down into their right full-back position. It's tossed away by João Moutinho and then picked up by Partey, who through the centre circle gives it to Cedric, who floats a long ball out towards the left looking for Martinelli. It was ambitious and long and overhead, and Alexandre Lacazette, who's standing in the middle of the Wolves penalty area, turns around and appeals to Cedric to be more accurate with his delivery. Still one or two of the Arsenal supporters come out of the exit away to our left to take their seats for the second half, clutching rather expensive looking coffees and fizzy waters. One or two of them with bags of crisps and a few hot dogs doing the rounds.
Still room for a Bovrils though, isn't there?
Yeah, just the one or two Bovrils, not as many as you used to get, but then again there's much more on offer now. Foul on Partey on the edge of the centre circle, and then off the ball there is an incident involving Hwang, who goes down after being pushed in the back, I think by Gabriel. About 6 or 7 players from either side then congregate around the referee. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving, but no more than that. It is going to be an Arsenal free kick just in front of the centre circle, narrowly to the right, and a chance maybe for Xhaka or Ødegaard to construct something deep.
Yeah, it's a tricky angle. When it's a little bit deeper and central, difficult to know what to do. I think this is a position where you try and create something clever. It's difficult just to dink that in and for anything to really happen.
It's chipped towards the far post, towards Martinelli, who brings it brilliantly out of the sky and under his wand, then gives it back to Tierney, who sends the ball infield to Xhaka, who sweeps it back out to Martinelli. There's a bit more room for him now to try and exploit. He comes in right-footed on the edge of the 18-yard box, sets the ball back to Saka, who strikes. It breaks inside a congested penalty area, but it's Wolves who emerge with the ball, and they run up towards the halfway line, and João Moutinho is being pursued by Ben White. There wasn't much in that. Moutinho goes down, wins the free kick. There's Nous for you.
Oh, Moutinho. That's just... all he did was look behind him and saw that there was an Arsenal player, and he actually just stuck his left leg out and almost kicked an Arsenal player and then fell over. And Martin Atkinson, because he was the other side of the Arsenal defender, it looked like a free kick. It was just Oscar winning.
This is the most wins that Wolves have had after 24 games of a top division season for 51 years. Since 12 wins from 24 under Bill McGarry in 1970-71. They went on to finish 4th that season, and they have every chance of finishing 4th this season if they complete a victory here. The ball is out of play over on the far side. It's a throw-in the left full-back position for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who, remember, haven't been beaten when they've taken the lead in a Premier League game since 2018. That's how resolute and resilient this team are. Away it goes, up over the halfway line from Kilman towards Hwang, who outmuscles Gabriel. Gabriel wins the free kick, or is gifted the free kick, and Arsenal have it back again. It might be a bit like this for the second half, Dean, because this is what Wolves can also do: destroy, disrupt.
You've got to have patience. You've got to trust that the way you've been asked to play is going to work. You've got to try and shut out, like you said, the frustrations of the free kicks and the time wasting that Wolves are excellent at, and I don't blame them whatsoever for that. That's why they've been so successful this season at keeping teams out. But it's down to Arsenal to keep their cool and try and break them down.
I just wonder whether or not, especially with Arteta being so reluctant to introduce his substitutes and make a big impact. I know he uses Nketiah quite a bit, but he was a fringe figure up until the new year, really. And they have sort of, in their bid to try and reconstruct the squad and rebuild it with youth at its heart. They have given away a bit of nous and a few decent options while Cody has dispossessed the defender, Lacazette, and then Ben White has gone down under a challenge of Jimenez and a free kick has been given. It was very, very soft. Had that not been given, all of a sudden Cody and Jimenez were in one-on-one with Ramsdale.
Well, they were, but I don't know why he's complaining. Your teammate's just done exactly the same thing a minute ago.
Here is Tierney in towards Partey. Partey back towards the left and Xhaka. Xhaka tries to thread it down the touchline towards Tierney, whose hook cross tries to reach Saka, but it's headed away by Saiz. It bounces on the edge of the D and Wolves bring it clear via Semedo and then Maximilian Kilman, who just clips it out towards the right fullback position, and then Semedo draws the foul from Ødegaard, and another bit of frustration comes from Ødegaard. And Martin Atkinson rather demonstrably turns around to Cody and actually I think sort of says what you've just said. It happened there, and it's happened there. So crack on, will you?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, he read it brilliantly, Cody, when he stole through, and he's right. There was absolutely no contact whatsoever on Gabriel, which is why he was so frustrated. But it's happening all over the pitch. It happens all the time in every game.
Neves takes it on and plays it to the right for Semedo. Podence's made a really good swift run, darting in between two defenders, Tierney and Gabriel, like a Bugatti. He's so rapid. It's picked up by Moutinho. He's trying to find Podence now, but Lacazette has come back to chase deep inside his own half and try to put it out of play. Does brilliantly to take it away from Moutinho. Hooks it round past the Portuguese, feeds Tierney and then tries to swivel his way out of trouble, gives it to Xhaka, and Xhaka gets it through the legs of Semedo, and Arsenal beat the press, left by Ødegaard. Brilliant little dummy, picked up by Saka, who's moving up towards the halfway line now. He tries to feed Cedric, but there's a good slide tackle by Aït-Nouri. The ball pops up off the Wolves man and goes out for a throw-in over on the far side. Still 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. 10 minutes into the game, still Borussia Dortmund fighting back in that game in the Europa League. But here's Saka into the area, trying to push infield on his left foot, but it's blocked by three old gold jerseys who smother him immediately, surround him and sort of envelope him in a big gold cuddle, and manage to get the ball clear eventually up towards the halfway line, and Hwang fighting with White for the ball, but White comes away with it. You're listening to Talk Sport. Here's Ødegaard motoring up towards the edge of the area. It's Rangers 1, Borussia Dortmund 2. 5-4 to Rangers on aggregate over on Talk Sport 2. Here is Roman Saiz backpedaling towards his own goal line, being pursued by Saka, who's trying to tussle with him. He just put his hand on the back of his shoulder. Saiz felt that, went down, free kick was given, and to the Arsenal fans, absolutely furious, and Mikel Arteta stomps over to Kevin Friend, the fourth official, has a few words in his ear, and then there's a sort of mini Iberian conflict in front of him, because Bruno Lage, who is a big, tall, raking man of about 6'4", is having a go back at Kevin Friend and having a go at Mikel Arteta, who looks miserable. I'm looking forward to those post-match interviews.
Well, I mean, Bruno Lage is saying, well, what about ours? And Arteta's saying the same, but Arsenal have got to be clever. You can't, if that's what Wolves are going to do, you cannot challenge when you've got them trapped in the corner. Just don't touch Saiz. Let him kick it out.
Here's Partey floating the ball over the top for Saka, who stretches but can't reach, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick. Jose Sarr had come out right to the edge of his area, and actually the two went 50-50 for the ball. Sarr realised that Saka wasn't going to get there, just backed up slightly, and the ball went behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. The Arsenal fans turn up the volume inside the Emirates Stadium. They're desperate to try and encourage their team to try and snatch something from this game, to get something from this match. Wolves really did put Arsenal under pressure for the final half an hour of the game up at Molineux when Martinelli was sent off, but can Arsenal do the same to Wolves and yield a better result, because they were beaten by a 0-0 Wolves by Arsenal 14 days ago, and now they lead Arsenal by the same scoreline. Tierney down the left, played in by Gabriel, onto Martinelli, who's inside the area. A low ball into the box. It's met by Lacazette, who turns and then fires over the top on the swivel, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick. There's a big problem here for Nelson Semedo, who went down in the right full-back position, holding the back of his hamstring. Now the referee's eventually gone over to have a word with him, but the accusation from the from the Wolverhampton Wanderers players is that they should have stopped the game before that. Well, I'm not sure that they should have done. He was down, but that was because he tied himself in a knot with Kieran Tierney, and I think pulled his hamstring in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to stop it for a hamstring injury. You could see that was what the issue was. So they're going to carry on, Arsenal. Lacazette again took it out of the sky brilliantly from the cross with his left foot, and then looked to swivel and shoot with his right, and he just got it all wrong. He was off balance. He then shanked the ball wide with his right foot, and moans and groans from the Arsenal supporters. I actually thought it was the right thing to do. He maybe could have laid it off to Ødegaard, or, well, he's not going to lay it off to Partey, but he could have laid it off to Ødegaard. But actually, I thought it was the right thing to do. He had the space to turn and shoot. Just got it wrong.
This will be a problem, though, for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They might have to make a change here. They do have full-backs on the bench. Johnny hasn't been involved since April 2021, and he's had several ligament injuries to the same knee, which have robbed him of much of the last couple of years. Marçal is on the bench as well. They might even ask someone like Neto or Trincao to do a job if necessary. They might change things around. It does look as if Johnny Otto is about to come on. Johnny, it's a great return for him to see him back in business, not at the expense of someone who is injured, but being back for the first time since April 2021 is a big thing for him, the Portuguese, who's about to come on. He has played right back, he's played left back for Wolves as well over the course of his career. He can slot into any position.
Yeah, great to see. Obviously we're disappointed for Semedo. He's played his part in this game defensively, that's for sure. And that'll keep him out for a while, I would expect.
Hamstring injuries are horrible, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not nice, and they're horrible when you come back from them, because you're constantly worried that you're going to tweak it again. Every time you step up the rehab, it's like, oh, I hope it doesn't go again. So there's a long road back for him.
Yep, and he's hobbling off the pitch away to our left, and he is now replaced by Johnny. And the Wolves fans, I think, absolutely delighted to see him and give him a huge round of applause, welcoming him back to the action. He's come over to the left, and Aït-Nouri's gone over to the right. I think that's probably fair. When you've been out for nearly a year, come back in your most natural of positions rather than in your... Actually, no, he hasn't. He's come out to the right full-back position, Johnny. And Aït-Nouri's stayed over on the left-hand side, so he will be playing slightly out of position as he comes off the bench. 61 minutes gone. You're listening to TalkSport. It's Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And Arsenal having to defend here as the ball is hooked up towards the left side of the Wolves attack. It's headed back by Ben White to goalkeeper Ramsdale. Gabriel back to Ramsdale again. Podence just making them think a little bit by stalking them on the edge of the penalty area and using his speed to try and stop them from playing out, and he's managed to help win the ball back high up inside opposition territory. It's Jimenez looking for Hwang. It bundles through to Podence on this near side, but he's taken it well wide. He turns and runs back facing towards the goal. He sends a lovely cross into the near post. He hits Gabriel on the head and goes flying behind. In truth, really, he wasn't completely in control of that, Gabriel. It could have gone anywhere. It's out for a corner.
It's poor defending from Tierney. Just gave him that space to put it onto his right foot and whip that in. And in the end, he almost struck it like he was taking a shot across the box, which is why it took Gabriel by surprise and just rebounded off his forehead out for a corner.
1-0 to Wolves. They have the corner away to our right. Moutinho will take it. He stutters as he hits the ball towards the near post. It's flicked into the air by Tierney. Neves returns it back to Moutinho, his compatriot, down the right side. He's good 10 yards from the corner flag when he gives it to Neves. A low ball into the box taken on by Hwang, who took advantage of a miss-hit really from Neves, runs down towards the byline, then back again to the 18-yard line, and then all the way back to Johnny, who's on the halfway line. Now it's picked up by Hwang again, tries to play a 1-2 with Moutinho, then loses the ball, and Arsenal look to counter, and Lacazette rides the cynical challenge of Hwang and runs towards the edge of the area. Neves trying to get back at him, a little reverse pass into Saka, comes back to Lacazette, he wants a free kick, he's going to get one, and I think in the end Johnny is the man penalised, but still in his mind Martin Atkinson had that incident at the other end on the halfway line when Hwang tried to cynically swipe the legs away from Lacazette, and Lacazette managed to ride it.
Well, every single coaching staff member of the Wolves backroom staff were up because Lacazette actually handled the ball earlier on in the move when he won the ball back, and then he was away. And you're right, I think Hwang was trying to get hold of Lacazette, but he was away, and then this is a dangerous position. Ødegaard, you would expect favourite to take this. Lacazette's there, Thomas Partey's there.
Well, he can hit them from range. I mean, sometimes not very accurately, but he can hit them. And you're listening to Arsenal 0, Wolves 1 on TalkSport with Now. And don't forget, with Now Sports Day memberships, you can stream all the Sky Sports action live for just $11.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. And it looks like Hwang is just laying down behind the 5-man Wolves wall. This free kick is just left of centre. It's 4 yards outside the penalty area. Lacazette, who certainly can hit them, is placing the ball down. It looks like Partey is trying to disrupt the wall by masking where he's going to hit it. He does hit it straight into the wall. It flicks into the air, and Jose Sarr grabs the rebound.
Well, it wasn't a bad effort from Lacazette. Probably 3 more inches above that wall, and that was really troubling Sarr. But the wall, because they've got Hwang laid down behind them, they're free to jump as high as they can. Makes it difficult.
Second half is underway at Ibrox over on TalkSport 2, with Rangers leading 5-4 in aggregate, but Borussia Dortmund leading on the night by 2-1. Another goal makes it really interesting. They'll go to extra time with Andy Barge and Charlie Adam, part of our commentary team tonight over on TalkSport 2. Here is Raul Jimenez trying to jink his way down the right touchline. He's tall and muscular, and with that thick cotton black headband on, protecting his skull that was fractured here over a year ago, and he's disappointed as the ball just travels out of play. Arsenal look to build from the back again, with Tierney up towards Lacazette, who flicks it on, reaches into the air to flick it behind himself, hoping that Saka was coming in from the blind side. Didn't quite work like that, and it's cleared away to our left by Jose Sarr. 25 minutes to go. Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. But if you were Mikel Arteta, what change would you be thinking about now?
I'm not necessarily would be thinking about a substitution, but I would take more of a risk. So I would ask my fullbacks, Tierney and Cedric Suarez, to get forward more, to really push on. Maybe say to Partey, you're just going to have to sit and help the 2 centre-backs if they were to break, because you've got to allow Martinelli and Saka to get closer to Lacazette. They're so wide, but if the full-backs can get forward and they can be wide, it means Martinelli and Saka are free then to get closer to Lacazette.
Lacazette doing well to bully Cody and run away with the ball on the edge of the area. He clatters into Kilman. It breaks to Martinelli. Martinelli up against Johnny. Johnny dispossesses him. It's cleared away by Neves. The Arsenal fans want the advantage that they perceive was played by Martin Atkinson after Kilman wired into Lacazette to be called back for a free kick, but it went on for far too long, and actually Martinelli did not take advantage of the advantage, and that's why play is continuing.
I've been impressed with Lacazette. He's been good in possession, rarely giving the ball away. He's been that real link at the top end of the pitch.
Strange today that they sort of intimated that they will not have any more contact about contract issues until the end of the season with Alexander Lacazette. Maybe just keeping him on his toes. Maybe he's keeping them on their toes.
Yeah, seems to be over the last few years that Arsenal players have had the upper hand.
Here is Gabriel moving up towards the halfway line. Plays it square to Ben White. White looks up, chips the ball forward. It's overhit because he's not going to release Lacazette like that. Lacazette really needs it into body to hold it, to protect it, to bring the others into play. He's not going to be one of those that runs in behind, darts behind Kilman and Cody. And Wolves bring it clear.
I mean, Arsenal won't get anything out of this game unless they get some support towards him. They just won't. they're too good, Wolves, defensively, just against Lacazette on his own. That's the one thing that can trouble teams, is when you overload against the defence with attackers, and that is a risk, because you might leave yourself open for a Wolves counter-attack, but they have to do that.
Wolves now counter-attacking on the left with Aït-Nouri, who stumbles after being clattered into by Cedric, but I think the referee's going to allow that to go. Kieran Tierney picks it up, runs up towards the left half position, then cuts it back to Gabriel, who's got his long sleeve white and red shirt hanging down by his waist. He looked up, wanted a bit of movement in midfield. There isn't really much for Arsenal in midfield, because Ødegaard is spread to the right, Saka is hugging the touchline on the right, and Martinelli's wide on the left. It means there's a lot of ground having to be covered by Partey and Granit Xhaka in the centre of the park, where, because of where Hwang is playing, at times Wolves have got 5 in that zone. Here is Partey, forward to Lacazette, flicks it round the corner for Ødegaard, but it's won by another Wolves defender who's popped up and nabbed it and managed to clear. Cody with a really good accurate pass onto Podence into Jimenez, who spreads it wide, and Johnny, who started to go and then decided no need, we'll go back to the halfway line, sends it into Ruben Neves in the heart of the Wolverhampton Wanderers midfield, and they continue with the ball at their feet.
And that's the slight difference between these two sides, is at any moment a Wolves player can just turn, fire it in to Neves or Moutinho. They're just so cool, calm, but great technique, and they just slow things down and start to build an attack, whereas Arsenal, very rare I've seen that go into Partey and Xhaka, and they've been comfortable just to take possession and then start an attack.
Cedric Suarez completely unhappy about the challenge that was inflicted on him by Hwang, and he sort of sneers with his lip and his pencil-thin moustache towards the referee, who didn't quickly award him a free kick. Eventually it does go his way, and Arsenal now about to make a substitution, and Nicola Pepe about to come on to try and inject a bit of pace into the team. Nicola Pepe, who hasn't scored too many goals recently, 7 goals and 5 assists in his last 15 appearances in all competition, but he's only played 34 minutes of Premier League football since October the 30th. He's coming on now for the final few minutes of this game. But here come Arsenal with Saka on the right side, approaching the penalty area to Cedric Suarez. Lovely reverse ball back to Saka, then on to Partey, who hits it 4 yards over the top from 20 yards out. And Mikel Arteta comes racing down the touchline to give a final few words of advice to Nicola Pepe, who's replacing Martinelli.
Well, that was better, because Cedric got up alongside Saka to cause Wolves an issue, and then when it came back to Partey, the inevitable happened.
It's currently Arsenal 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and the latest odds are available for you if you head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Wolves to win the game at 5-4 on, 9-4 the draw, 6-1 for Arsenal, and that's all thanks to Betfair, where you'll get no cash out suspensions on match odds and over-under goal markets on football. 18+, BigGambleAware.org. Here come Arsenal, who have made that change. On to Saka inside the area. Lacazette trying to turn. Shoots down, no. Good save by the post by Sarr, springing to his left and turning it round the corner. And it's out for a corner, which Arsenal want to race to take. Ødegaard goes across, but Cedric Suarez is there already. Ødegaard calms things down, and Gabriel trots up from central defence to add to the numbers inside the 18-yard box. What a good save.
Well, he hasn't had as much of an effect in the second half, Saka, but that was again great running behind, great ball into Lacazette. This time, great touch and shot. Sarr was there to meet it.
Here is Saka's delivery deep towards Lacazette, who rises, but he's under pressure from Neves. It's smuggled away by Wolves into the right full-back position. Left by Xhaka, through to Tierney. He's on halfway. Cedric Suarez takes over now on the centre spot, clips the ball down the left, looking for Pepe. Lovely touch, but Hwang is there, and he nudges it behind. He thinks he played it off the Ivorian. Martin Atkinson doesn't, and it's out for a corner kick, and it remains 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Can Arsenal get themselves out of the tight spot here? They need to hit back, and they need to hit back very quickly, because time is running out for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Ødegaard to take it from the left side this time. That blonde hair visible as he raises his hand into the air to try and indicate what sort of corner is coming. It's a deep one to Ben White, doesn't reach Lacazette on the return as he heads it back across the face of goal. Now Pepe's got it right side of the penalty area, and then Xhaka under pressure from Neves shows brilliant feet to feed Ben White, left edge of the area, shoots, and it's well wide of goal.
Well, Ben White, great touch with his right foot onto his left foot, and you just think, go on, test the goalkeeper at the very least. Inside right of the penalty area onto the left foot, and actually in the end, from our angle it looked like it was 2 or 3 yards wide. It was probably 7 in the end.
Well, Ben White with an effort which ended up going miles wide, but what a chance it was for them to open up the Wolves defence. And that roar that you hear away to our left hand side is because Jose Sá has taken so long over his goal kick that the Arsenal fans are getting frustrated. Pedro Neto is going to provide another outlet for Wolverhampton Wanderers with 17 minutes to go. Jimenez is down over on the far side. Now Hwang's gone down, and now they're trying to delay it further. Thomas Partey's given the ball away to Jimenez, and then they've won it back to Ødegaard. Now Lacazette is fed, and Lacazette running towards the edge of the D. He's got Saka to his left. He tries to push it to him, but it's too heavy. Sends him wide. Back into the centre it goes from Saka, comes back out to Xhaka, who hits it. It's cleared away by Neves. Back out to the left again. Ødegaard trying to keep it in. He scrambles towards the byline. Does send it back, but an offside flag has already gone up. Massive goal at Ibrox. Rangers 2, Borussia Dortmund 2. James Tavernier, after 57 minutes, has restored a bit of a cushion for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and his team. 6-4 on aggregate now to Rangers. And what an achievement it will be for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst if he can see them through to the next round of the competition, out of the Europa League playoffs and into the last 16. Here's the substitution. Pedro Neto is coming on, and off comes Hwang, the goal scorer, Dean Ashton.
Well, I think for a neutral it's great to see this man back, Neto. He was absolutely wonderful before he got that nasty injury that's kept him out for so long, and he will have to be watched. I know he's not played much football, but he's a wonderful player.
Yeah, his first return from a fractured kneecap, April 2021. I'm not being funny, but that is an injury I just don't think anyone should ever have to sustain. That sounds absolutely horrible, and apparently, from what I understand, it is incredibly painful. Here is Ødegaard picking the ball up for Arsenal, looking for an equaliser. Long ball which is searching out Xhaka. Xhaka stretches with his left foot to bring it out of the sky, but he can't reach it. And Eddie Nketiah is about to come on for Arsenal for the final 15 minutes. What would you do here? Would you take off Lacazette? Would you take off one of the wide men? Or there's only one wide man left now. Or would you take off somebody else? So they're going to take off Cedric Suarez, who's the right back. What does that mean?
Well, does it mean they're going to a back three with Tierney going into a three, and then you have Pepe and Saka as wing backs? I think that's probably the way they'll go. Saka will come over to the left and Pepe over on the right hand side as wing backs. And then,
I mean, if you do that,
Lacazette and Nketiah up top.
If you do that, which I think is what they're going to do, surely if you're Wolves, you just get to Podence and Neto to stand on the touchlines either side and expose the lack of defensive cover they've got in wide areas, don't you?
Well, that's the gamble you take, isn't it, of trying to outnumber each other in certain areas, and that's where Arsenal will try and outnumber that back three at times.
Ball sent long by Ramsdale right through the middle of the Wolves half, and it's an easy catch for Jose Sá, who again hasn't had much to do, but nor has Ramsdale actually in the game. It's been a match of very few chances really, not too much goal mouth action, but certainly quite a lot of interesting, intriguing tactical play. And here's Neto on that right hand side trying to jink his way into the box, watched well by Gabriel. His first slide tackle was a very good one, and then Johnny Otto turns up and backs up Neto with Neves, and they win the ball again inside the Arsenal half of the field. This is Johnny into João Moutinho, who's clipped by Ødegaard, kept in by Neto, brilliantly taken out of the sky, takes on Saka, twists back towards Johnny again. They've kept it on this near touchline for almost 30 seconds now, and now Johnny is struggling to get up to get on the end of a flick by Moutinho. It goes out of play and away for a throw-in deep inside Arsenal territory. 1-0 Wolves.
Well, that's taken him long to get into it, Neto, didn't it? Well, lovely touch and awareness. But Wolves, this is what they do. They frustrate. They're the masters at it in the Premier League.
They don't score too many goals, but they haven't needed to score too many goals. So if you think they're within a point of the top four if they win tonight, despite the fact they've scored 24 Premier League goals all season. I mean, that is ridiculous. Their away performances have been brilliant. I mean, their last, I think this is their fifth game in a row, if they've managed to complete a victory here, that they've won. In the Premier League, 5 Premier League wins away from home in a row. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. But you can see, you know, when you see them live as we have done tonight, you can see why. Just the organisation, the togetherness in their battle to defend.
Here come Arsenal with Pepe on the right side of their attack, moving into the 18-yard box. He gets it back to Ben White, who's progressed high up into the Wolves half. It's with Pepe, 5 yards outside the box. On the right side is Ødegaard, but again he's surrounded. He's got Aït-Nouri close to him, Moutinho close to him, and Aït-Nouri puts a tackle in which sends the ball out of play and away for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area. 12 minutes to go. Ball thrown in down the right towards the corner flag. It's collected by Pepe, who's trying to twist away from Aït-Nouri. Flying tackle goes in from Moutinho. It's away by Saiss eventually, up to the halfway line, and then sent by Gabriel all the way back to Ramsdale.
Yeah, you can feel it, can't you, in the stadium, that frustration for the Arsenal supporters every time Wolves just batten down the hatches and squeeze Arsenal back towards Ramsdale. Got to find a way though, Arsenal.
Here is Xhaka moving up toward the midway point of the Wolves half. He sends it wide towards the right, collected by Pepe. Pepe travels infield. He's on the edge of the 18-yard box. Xhaka behind Lacazette, and then it's half cleared by Wolverhampton Wanderers, who didn't really have too much trouble dealing with that defensive situation. Cody pokes it clear up to the halfway line, wants a foul. Jimenez turns and gives it to Podence. Podence on the halfway line. Bit of space now for Neves. Neves charging into Arsenal territory. Over on the left is Jimenez. He'll slow things up. Bruno Lage is absolutely furious. He thought they should have continued and gone for the kill. They didn't. They slowed up, kept possession, and rather calmly went back into their own half and just kept Arsenal at arm's length.
I felt the same. I thought that was on then. I actually thought he should have looked the opposite way at Neto, who's making a run in behind Tierney. But they've still got possession.
They maximise everything, don't they, Wolverhampton Wanderers? They squeeze every little drop of talent they've got out of every resource they have, every player they have. They're not afraid to take a gamble on a young player here or there, but surround those young players with experience and give them the framework to operate at their very best. Ødegaard squeezes away from Neto, but he's left too much for Pepe to do. Saiss comes across, plays it against the Norwegian. It's out for a Wolverhampton Wanderers throw in the left fullback position. 1-0.
Look, I wouldn't want to watch Wolves every week. I wouldn't, but you have to admire. You absolutely have to admire the way they defend, how hard they are to break down.
That in itself should be admired.
It can be admired.
Enjoy watching that. I mean, that sort of, you can see the ticking of the brain of the coach as the team exact his instructions. No,
I'm a striker though.
You like goals. They've only scored 24 all season. But they've scored one here. 81 minutes on the clock. Clipped forward by Ødegaard, looking to play in Nketiah, inside the box, cuts it back to Pepe, lovely turn, lovely swivel, lovely finish, Arsenal level. Nicola Pepe scores for Arsenal, off the bench to rescue what could be a precious point against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Nketiah played a part, Pepe provided the finish, Arteta's alterations worked, and Arsenal are back in the game.
Well, Ødegaard, what a pass this is. He just jinks inside on his left foot, and guess what? Running off the ball is difficult to defend against. And Nketiah runs in behind. Great ball over the top from Ødegaard. He takes it down, he cuts it back to Pepe, and unlike Lacazette earlier, he takes a wonderful touch, swivels, gets it right.
Maybe there's more than a point up for grabs here for Arsenal, who come forward down the left with Saka. His attempted cross is sent into the sky, and it's gathered by Jose Sarr. Now, Wolverhampton Wanderers are unbeaten in 45 Premier League games in which they have taken the lead, so it would be a big ask for Arsenal to come and beat them now. They also haven't conceded more than one goal in 13 Premier League games before tonight. So, if Arsenal do it, they are certainly doing it the hard way. They've scored once. Can they do it again in the 7.5 minutes that are remaining? Maybe. I'll tell you what I wouldn't be doing if I was an Arsenal fan. I wouldn't be leaving like this fella here and that fella there. Ramsdale comes out to the edge of his box, heads the ball away, but only as far as Neto. Claims of handball, referee says no. Neto takes it on, down the right-hand side, gets it onto his left foot. Can he produce a cross? No, he twists back again. Then turns it back into the path of Neves. Neves looks up, fires it into the box, takes a deflection, goes out for a corner to Wolves. Rangers 3, Borussia Dortmund 2. It's 7-4 on aggregate now. Ryan Kent with the latest Rangers goal after 66 minutes over on TalkSport 2.
Just got to switch on Arsenal. Wolves with Moutinho's delivery, height they've got in their team to attack this. They've just got themselves back in it. Arsenal don't do anything silly. Whereas Wolves, what a response this would be.
Kilman just making his presence felt on the penalty spot. Saiss is in there too, he's a danger. Cody's around the back looking for the ball, which is taken by Moutinho into a dangerous area. It's headed away by White, comes out as far as Neves. Moutinho's got back onside, and he now tries to get beyond Lacazette, who does brilliantly, and then taken towards the corner flag. And then, well, I'm not entirely sure how that's a foul against João Moutinho, but somehow it is.
Has it gone out?
No, it's a free kick. He's given a free kick. Well, it didn't go out for a throw-in.
That's what he's given.
It didn't go out for a throw-in. Dear, oh dear. 5 minutes to go before the end. Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal is the cry. Down by the corner flag, it's tossed forward by Tierney. It comes off Johnny, and out of play on this near side. Bruno Lage rams his hands into his pockets of his thin, slim, figure-hugging black tracksuit joggers. Turns and has a few words with his coaching staff as Arsenal look to build from the back again. It's 1-1 on TalkSport. The goals from Pepe late in the game and an early one from Hwang. Tierney fires it forward into the half space for a little dart into the left channel for Nketiah, but it's heavy again and it's gobbled up. You're listening to TalkSport. The Rangers have had a third goal disallowed after a VAR review, so it's back to 6-4, 2-2 on the night. VAR, eh? Everyone getting very excited down at Ibrox tonight. Here is a brilliant run on the left-hand side by Aït-Nouri into the area. Neto with a strike, and he misses the outside of the post. Brilliant effort from the edge of the box. Aït-Nouri with a steaming run down the left. Set up Neto, was on the 18-yard line when he swung his left boot at the ball, and he missed the outside of the left post by a couple of inches.
Well, that's the only problem when you have Nicola Pepe playing as a right-hand side wing back. He didn't look comfortable. Aït-Nouri just jinked past him and he was away.
That took a deflection off Gabriel.
Well, I think, Neto was trying to say that to Martin Atkinson, but I still think he didn't quite catch it the way he wanted to.
It's still a
Neto.
corner.
Yeah, it's still a corner, you're right.
Come on, ref. Here is Xhaka picking it up, 10 yards from the edge of the box. Went to shoot, decided not to. Ødegaard gets it. Ødegaard trying to turn it out towards the right-hand side. Pepe takes over now. Swings the ball into the near post. Headed away by Connor Cody. And then picked up by Gabriel, and still Arsenal come forward. 1-1, 3.5 minutes to go. Xhaka trying to turn it down the right side for Nketiah. Cody is there to stop it, prevent it, hack it clear. Tierney sends it back the way it came. It's going to be a relentless last 3.5 minutes live on TalkSport. Arsenal trying to go within a point of Manchester United, but so are Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it's 1-1. And that result just pleases Ralph Rangnick.
It would do. They can't switch off though because Wolves will be a threat on the break.
A turn by Nketiah away from Neves and weaves it out towards the left-hand side. It's taken on by Saka. Saka goes on the outside of Johnny, produced across towards the far post, headed away by Saiz. Comes back out to Xhaka. Ødegaard tries to turn, chips it towards the far post, and it's only narrowly wide. What a chance, Ødegaard on the turn. He had to do that quickly. It was a really difficult chance. He had to dig it out from a difficult angle, and he clipped it just over the bar.
Sarr didn't look bothered at all. He honestly didn't look like he was one bit bothered. I think it just clips the apex of crossbar and post, so nonchalantly expecting it to go wide. That was close.
Well, let's put it this way. He wasn't bothered. He should have been.
Yes.
Nuno Tavares is about to come on. And Dendoncker about to come on, and I don't know what Jimenez is screaming about. In fact, I don't even know who's supposed to be coming off, because I don't think anyone does. Jimenez is saying it's not me. Jimenez is being told by Xhaka it is him. He's now walking off towards the near side. He's now apologising, yellow card for Jimenez, and apparently it's not him. Or is it him? Who is it? No one knows. I don't know who it is. Kevin Friend doesn't know who it is. Raul Jimenez has been booked. If he doesn't go off the pitch, then he's going to get sent off, isn't he? He's got to be really careful.
But the fourth official's got 2 boards in his hand, and neither one of them are up in the air with a number.
Well, no one knows what is going on here, but Martin Atkinson is coming over to try and diffuse a situation which has got out of hand. I mean, what is the fourth official doing? In fact, the fourth official is actually standing on the touchline. It's not the fourth official with 2 boards. It's one of the Arsenal kit men. What? With 2 boards. That's not the fourth official. The fourth official is Kevin Friend, and he's standing next to Bruno Lage.
It's not that we can't see, it's that Arsenal's coaching staff and Wolves' coaching staff are all wearing black.
Yeah. And so is the fourth official. Yes. Oh, Kevin Friend says, I'll have that board. Oh no, that board. Which one? There's 2 boards. Why don't you just give him 1 board? And now Raul Jimenez, who's been booked because he wouldn't go off the pitch because he wasn't going to be substituted, actually isn't being substituted, and Podence is coming off, so he's coming from the far side over towards the near touchline. So it was all a bit of a hullabaloo.
So should he take away Jimenez's yellow card? Because actually he wasn't going off.
Oh, there you are. I don't know. What do they put up on the board? Which board did they use? All these eternal questions will be answered and more on the Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara after 10 o'clock tonight. 03717 2233 44 if you want to have your say about substitute board gate, or if you want to talk about this football match, or if you're a Rangers fan, then you might want to have a word to Jamie tonight. 03717 2233 44. It was a cracking Sports Bar last night. Here on the right side is Ødegaard for Arsenal, charging towards the edge of the Wolves penalty area. Good, brilliant work by Dendoncker, who got in front of a cracking effort from Xhaka to block a shot. It goes out to the wide left. We played the 90 minutes, but we will have additional time. Xhaka into the area, takes a deflection, goes behind, Arsenal corner.
Yeah, the throw in bodies forward. Xhaka now from midfield. He's not worried about defending. He's just getting forward, supporting Saka.
6 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. Live on TalkSport. Arsenal behind after 10 minutes. Corner comes in towards the edge of the penalty spot. It's now 1-1. It's headed away by Wolves, collected by Tierney out towards the near side, and then Tierney he's picked up some sort of injury there. He's put his hand into the air. He's hurt his foot. He's gone down. He's going to waste some time. Or is it cramp? It might just be cramp, actually.
Yeah, it's cramp.
He's gone down. He needs someone to pull his toes up towards his knee. And I think now Tavares will come on for Kieran Tierney. Plays quite a lot of games, Kieran Tierney. Why is he getting cramp? Oh, good question. Very good question. All the answers and more on the Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara. 03717 2233 44.
Lack of salt, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not a cramp expert. Nuno Tavares is coming on, and Kieran Tierney has come off. Mikel Arteta is off on his travels. Look at him, look what he's doing. He's standing in front of the throw-in taker to put him off as he tried to throw it in. That was cheeky, that. Cody manages to hack it clear. Tavares away. It's up over the halfway line. Neves picked up by Nketiah, who turns the ball over and runs towards the Wolves half of the field. Neves manages to swivel and clear it up to the halfway line, but Partey's got it now. On to Saka. Lacazette. Saka, edge of the D. He's got Odegaard to his right and he just couldn't squeeze the pass to him. And now Pedro Neto is speeding away down the left-hand side for Wolverhampton Wanderers. At pace he moves towards the touchline, then comes back infield, gives it to João Moutinho, who slows up and brings the ball towards Rayan Aït-Nouri. Back on halfway, Saiss thunders it forward. He got far too much behind that, and it goes out and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. We played 2.5 of the 6 added minutes at the end of the game on TalkSport, and it's Arsenal 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And remember, whoever wins this, if anyone wins it, then they will go within a point of Manchester United in 5th place.
They're just not willing to gamble many players forward, Wolves. There was another great opportunity to play forward when it went back to Moutinho, but he didn't. He just went backwards and slowed things down. Feels like they're playing for the draw rather than thinking, can we go and get the win on the break?
Well, Arsenal will go up to 5th, but they'll be 3 points behind Manchester United with a game in hand. In fact, with 2 games in hand, so they're still in a fantastic position. They go up above West Ham United. Wolves stay in 7th place. They're 5 points behind Manchester United in 4th with 1 game in hand. That's how the table will look should it stay like this. But Arsenal will have designs on more than just a point here. In fact, a point's probably better for Arsenal than it is for Wolverhampton Wanderers at this stage of the season. Foul over on the far side. Aït-Nouri's gone down under a collision with Pepe. The referee's given a free kick, and Arsenal will allow Wolves to take their time. In fact, it's gone out for a throw-in over on the far side, and Wolves are taking their time over that as well.
Yeah, they've done well. Wolves have just slowed things down, a couple of fouls and substitutions, and it's just Arsenal maybe lost the momentum, have they, or is there one last push?
You never know. Arsenal heading for only their 4th draw of the season. It's the joint fewest number of draws in the Premier League with Manchester City, Tottenham, Aston Villa and Watford. They like to win. Here is Dendoncker dispossessing Tavares in the left full-back position. It's clipped up high over the halfway line. Jimenez can't reach it. It's looking a little bit tired now, Raul Jimenez. The ball breaks into centre field. Partey turns, wants a bit of support. Out on the left, Tavares, who loves to get forward, charges up the pitch towards the left, and now Saka, who motors into the penalty area, goes past 2 challengers. Lovely finish, brilliant save down to his left by Jose Sarr. What a chance that was for Arsenal. We were right behind that missile of a shot, which went arrowing into the far corner. Here is Pepe, into Lacazette, into the area, across the face of goal, and in! It is in! Lacazette spills away, Odegaard spills away, the crowd spill onto the pitch, and Arsenal and their young guns are having fun, and they may just have the other top 4 contenders on the run. In stoppage time, at the end of the game, somehow Lacazette, with a little bit of help from the Wolves defence, has scooped the ball into the net, and Arsenal lead by 2 goals to 1.
Just how big could that goal be for Arsenal and possible top 4 in Champions League football? They kept pushing and pushing this Arsenal side, and you can tell by the celebrations. Every single staff member was running down the touchline after that goal from Lacazette. Pepe, again one of the subs, a cute little pass into Lacazette, and the absolute killer for any goalkeeper is when they go through, is when he's about to strike it, he bobbles it, it bounces up and over Sarr, who's expecting the strike, and there's nothing the goalkeeper can do to stop that ending up in the back of the net. What a finish.
Well, I'm still trying to work out exactly how it went in, because Lacazette hits it,
well, he bobbles it
the face of goal,
but
it takes 2 deflections, comes off the goalkeeper's hand, I think, and goes behind him and into the net.
It's the bobble, it's the miss the way he mishits it. He hits it into the ground. I remember Ozil doing it on purpose once. You hitting into the ground, it fires up with top spin, which makes it so difficult for Sarr, which is why then when he gets the hand to it flicks past his hand and into the back of the net.
Offside plug up against Nketiah. Well, what a fantastic noise inside the Emirates Stadium. What a fantastic moment for Alexandre Lacazette, the leader of this young group. The group with the youngest average age in the Premier League this season. 56% of their goals come from players under the age of 21. But it's an old head that has won it for them tonight. Alexandre Lacazette, the captain, for the 9th game in succession, has scored in stoppage time to win the game for Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta scores a victory that puts Arsenal in pole position to claim a place in the Premier League's top 4. They have beaten a rival for those positions tonight. They have snuck up into 5th behind Manchester United, but they had 2 games in hand on Ralf Rangnick's team. It's the second time in 2 weeks that Wolves have lost to Arsenal, and that might undermine their top 4 hopes. It's the first time since 2018 that they've taken the lead in the game in the Premier League and not managed to come away with something. The race isn't over, not by a long way yet, but Arsenal are in pole position. Arsenal 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.